Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mampolo from Mampolo's Corner. Renee, your myself. Guys, one of our senior lawyer, that is son, he don't bust out. He name neither they call Olise Agbakoba. Olise Agbakoba don't bust out. Come explain this section of the law. This section of the law when they confuse all of us in this INEC problem. When the talk say the person that is supposed to be the president of Nigeria, the person that must win president of Nigeria, that's it. must win two-thirds of the state plus the FCT plus the Federal Capital Territory. One of the senior lawyers. In fact, not be senior. Look at the talk senior. One of the senior advocate of Nigeria. Dr. Olise Agbakoba, he don't come. He don't come. He come clear every air. He tell us what is difficult to explain for that section. 2/3 of other states plus FCT. He said and FCT. In fact, I don't want to talk too much. Not be me be the son. I'm not the son. I'm not I'm not the lawyer. Son, where are you? Oh yeah, now. For those who never see the video, watch the video.
This section 134,
yes,
you have referred to it about twice now as one of the questions to be addressed. Now, you raised the issue in January when you wrote a letter to INEC asking INEC for a possible interpretation of section 134. Well, I would like to know whether you got a reply.
Yes.
And then as a senior advocate of Nigeria, what's your own opinion, which you have not documented, about the interpretation of that section 134, sub 2 in particular?
Well, I did a letter to INEC, and if they had answered me, maybe you wouldn't have been in this log jam. But I had an interview. They didn't reply, by the way. But I had the closest they came to reply was an interview I did on TVC with my good friend Festus Okoye, and he admitted that it was an issue that required to be resolved. And I was surprised that they did nothing. My own view is that Section 134 applied literally, because the rules of interpretation say if you read something and it's so clear to you, then you don't need to interpret it. The thing says you must win a quarter of the votes in 2/3 of 36 states. And so what do you want to say? The answer is obvious.
So the presidential candidate does not have to get 25% in FCT. Otherwise, it will amount to an absurdity. If he already has 25% in, say, about 28 states.
No, I didn't say that. I said
no, I want you to break it down.
25%.
I want you to break it down in a way that the ordinary
man... I've broken it down.
No, let's apply
I've just broken it down. Ruben, I've broken it down. You want to put words in my mouth, which I won't accept. It's so simple. You get a quarter of the votes in 25%, in a quarter of the votes in 2/3 of 36 states. That is what the law says, which is 24. So that's one part of it. It goes on to say, and. What does that mean? And the FCT. So as far as I'm concerned, you must also win 25% in the FCT. But that's not for me to say because I'll be judging what is before the tribunal. So we think the tribunal can answer this question quite easily in 1 hour. That's my point. Quite easily.
All right.
It's not a difficult question to resolve.
All right. Well, Dr. Agbakoba, you also talk about, just going back to what the question that had been asked previously around your confidence in the judiciary. You had said in an interview, in a previous interview, that in the past you could look at the weight, you could analyze the case before the court and be able to make a decision that would possibly tally with what the court would come up with based on the merit of the case. But in recent times, and you cited a few cases where this had happened, it's not quite the same. I'd like you to speak a bit on that in terms of the confidence or lack of that you have in the court. And second of that question is on INEC's role as a respondent. What you have said is that INEC should come in as a neutral witness, where they're just coming to present to the courts the facts or what actually happened during the elections. Unfortunately, what we see happening is that INEC comes in almost as if working with the respondent, so coming to defend, and in your words, with sweat and blood, what had happened, and this ought not be the case. I'd like you to speak a bit more on that, please.
Yes. No, absolutely. You remember when Mr. Shiv Shadari of blessed memory was president, he acknowledged that the process that brought him was flawed, and he set up the waste panel, and I was a member. And we came up with a set of recommendations which has not been implemented today. One of the key recommendations was INEC must not be a party. Because if INEC becomes a party, it's forced to defend the petition. The last election in 2019, INEC was even more active than Mr. Buhari in defending the petition.
That's right.
The only role for INEC is to say to the tribunal, these are the results, these are the documents we used, and the courts will assess it. So I'm of the strong opinion that INEC ought not to be a party at all. So now INEC is a party, and therefore it is hiding documents, because it has an interest to say that the elections were conducted properly. So I hope that the lesson from all this really is that the 10th Assembly will inaugurate all the legislative recommendations we made under OAS in 2007. It's time to demystify election petitions. Election petitions are not difficult. I've handled a lot more difficult and complex financial cases in the City of London. So what is the issue about determining whether Section 35 states that if you are a vice presidential candidate on a party's platform, you couldn't be a senatorial candidate at the same time? Is there any difficulty in that?
Yeah.
It's simple English.
What do you want to interpret?
That would take me 2 minutes to decide. So I still reiterate, 7 days is enough time to go through the Court of Appeal at first instance and the Supreme Court. The only place where there might be a difficulty is if the questions I set out fail. And there's a strong possibility that they might fail. So we'll now go to part B of the case management issue, which is Peter Obi and other petitioners will now have to prove the irregularities set out in the petition. That would be a long time. And I guess that's why there's the 180-day timeline. But before we get to the 180-day timeline and part B of the petition, what about part A? And I think the overall concept is Nigeria needs to cool down. The whole place is overheated, mainly because of petitions. So the judicial philosophy behind this thing should be that the courts must be proactive. Proactive. And let me repeat again. Since the petitions have been filed, not a statement has come from the courts. And that's unfortunate.
Very appalling.
Courts ought to set practice directions to
Very
say,
appalling.
we can see what's going on in Nigeria. As a result, we set these questions down. We hereby issue procedural order number 1 and set out these questions and invite counsel on both sides to address us. And once we hear the addresses, the judgment will be delivered the following day, one way or the other. Why can't they do that?
Well,
That's my simple point. Why can't they do that? I would like to know.
Well, 2 quick things. One, you alluded to the statement made by Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Minister of Information and Culture.
Yes.
To the effect that Mr. Peter Obi and his running mate, Dati Baba Ahmed, have made statements that could make them liable for treasonable felony.
Nonsense.
And then the second thing,
Yes.
the second thing will be what you think of all this general talk about interim national government and the DSS coming forward to say, well, that's a taboo subject because it will amount to subversion.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, but you see, the problem is because there's a strong feeling that Mr. Tinubu will be sworn in and the petitions are running. And there's that feeling, but if the man is sworn in, then what are we doing in the courts? That's the problem. And that's why I say, let's get these petitions resolved. I don't agree with Mr. Lai Mohammed that what Mr. Obi is saying is treason.
He's a liar.
I don't agree.
He's a liar.
But if we go below what the problem is, it's to do with the fact that Mr. Tinubu is likely to be sworn in on 29th of May 2023, whilst the petitions are not even heard. So why don't we try, even if we fail? Suppose my theory of 7 days doesn't work, but let us try now. Let's try to see if we can get it going. And if we get it going, that is a plus for everybody. Why must we be in this continuous political, quagmire of everywhere is in confusion? I really would urge the tribunal and legal team on both sides to do their possible best to push this case to the possible limit where we can see if there can be a conclusion before the swearing in. But clearly, I have said that I do not believe, and the Constitution does not recognize anything like an interim government. It's a total contraption. So as it stands now, Mr. Ahmed Bola Tinubu is the president-elect, whether we like it or not. And he's going to be sworn in on May 29th, whether we like it or not. many guys are going to be unhappy because they will say we have petitions. So in order to balance out justice, could we please get these petitions, if they can be resolved before that date, so everybody is happy? If Peter Obi loses, then he goes home and knows he's lost.
Yes.
But why hang the thing? I can understand Peter Obi's concern and Dati Mohammed's outburst if Mr. Tinubu is being sworn in at Eagle Square and the petition is hanging in the Court of Appeal. That doesn't sound too right to me.
It don't make sense.
So where we strike the balance is to give our best possible shot to finish the petitions. Let us at least try. There's no point in all sitting down and saying, can it be done? Let's try to see if it can be done.
That's all. Guys, when I don't see him, ask for Lai Mohammed. They said, did I hear Minister of Information or Minister of Lies? He's the Minister of Lies, not Minister of Information. Minister of Lies. That's what they gave his name. That's what they gave him, Lai Mohammed. He's a liar. Linus. He's a liar. So that's why our son say no, he did not agree with Lai Mohammed. You are pushing for treason. You know what is called treason? When I don't find any way when I want to take indict Peter Obi for treason, make them arrest her, when I don't cook everything, he never still agree on. God never agree on. God never agree on. And he no go agree on. The court, what are you people doing? Hurry up. They don't file in the case. Make una they process the case now. Look at what Kenya did in a day. Everybody, case dismissed away. No time, no wasting time. This is a case, a complicated case. Tell us who will make Nigeria rest. Because tension is building up. That is what the son is talking about. Tell us who win so that we can quell the tension. Who win go home. Who lose go home. last. Everybody go chop breakfast. But when I tell us what did happen, because if not they delay them, if not they delay the thing, when they make tension, they build up. You people should hasten up so that peace will come. Normalcy will be restored. That's what we are talking about. So the delay your delay is making some people to get more agitated. It's making some people to get more restless. It's making some people to get more suspicious. You people should go on with this case. People are just anxious to see the case. That's what we are looking for. Now you people have heard what the son have said. He said this case winning 25% of 2/3 of 36 states. Tell us now. He said and means plus. Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. Coming to the one of Shetima, he said, is that difficult? They said that you cannot take 2 tickets. You cannot be running for vice presidency while you are a senator or you are running for senator. It's the same thing the other. He said, is English ambiguous? These are not ambiguous. Why are you people bringing technicality and not technicality? If I don't want to talk too much, maybe I don't talk. Maybe people know they think say I be a lawyer. Guys, if you love what I do, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, on Twitter, even on TikTok. All I'm gonna love you guys. Peace out.